Donald Trump is now running away as quickly as he can from Project 2025. You've put it forward, and I thank you for that, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time's expired, and I apologize to the witnesses with his constant misstatements that the majority of this panel had anything to do with Project 2025. Honesty is not the ranking member's strong suit.
During a recent Republican-led House Oversight Committee hearing dedicated to exposing the quote-unquote incompetence of the Biden administration, Democratic Congressman and constitutional scholar Jamie Raskin pulled an Uno reverse card and utterly humiliated Donald Trump, MAGA Republicans, and in particular, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee hearing, James Comer, visibly triggering him. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we actually did a video about this particular panel a few days ago, but it was about a specific part involving Jared Moskowitz, a freshman Democratic congressman who loves to troll James Comer, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee hearing. Well, then I had the occasion to go back and watch the full committee hearing. And somebody else that we talk about quite a bit on this channel is a guy by the name of Jamie Raskin. He's the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee hearing. He's the quote-unquote elder statesman of the Democrats. He's a constitutional scholar, a masterful rhetorician, a prolific debater. And he has also gotten into the habit of trolling Trump and MAGA Republicans, and I think this is a lot of it has to do with the influence of Jared Moskowitz and Dan Goldman and Jasmine Crockett and Maxwell Frost, the strong freshman bench. And so at the end of this hearing, he is given 4 minutes for closing remarks, and he gives a masterclass performance in actually defending the Biden-Harris administration and exposing the much greater incompetence of the Trump-Pence administration. And at the end, he has clearly pissed James Comer off, which in and of itself is worth a video. So we're going to play the clip and unpack it together.
Minutes of closing remarks.
And Mr. Chairman, thank you, witnesses. Thank you all for your participation today. You know, Mr. Frost made the key point that the hearing was framed as a partisan exercise, but at least it's invited a straight-up comparison between the economic records of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Donald Trump left Americans with 3 million fewer jobs than when he started in office, the worst record since the Great Depression. Meantime, we've had under the Biden-Harris administration the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, 11 million new jobs created since 2021, including 750,000 new manufacturing jobs. While bringing inflation down dramatically, putting us at the very top of the G7 countries in terms of our ability to deal with the supply chain problems caused by COVID-19 and Donald Trump's lethally reckless stewardship of the country during that period when he was recommending that people inject themselves with bleach and hydroxychloroquine and all of these crazy things. But look, the Inflation Reduction Act dramatically reduced prescription drug prices in America. I had constituents who were paying $600 a month, Mr. Chairman, for their insulin shots as diabetics. The Democrats reduced that to $35 a month and made similar dramatic cost reductions across the board for 25 or 30 new drugs. That's dramatic change. Now, I know Republicans reject that. They're campaigning all over the country to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act, which did that. We also led to create, finally, a $1.2 trillion investment in infrastructure, the roads, the bridges, the highways, the ports, the airports, rail and trail, rural broadband. I can't believe this slander against rural broadband in America. The program didn't start until this last summer. That's why that money hasn't been spent. At least one of the witnesses conceded there'd been lots of other money spent, but we're getting Republican governors like in Virginia and West Virginia praising the program because of the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been made available to the states in order to expand rural broadband. But I do want to commend you, Mr. Chairman, as well as the witnesses for your absolute forthrightness in bringing forward this panel of 2025, Project 2025 intellectuals, the people who wrote the plan, the people whose organizations have been involved in the plan, and the people who are defending the plan. I want to particularly commend Ms. Gunasekera. I hope I pronounced it correctly finally. No, but I maybe got closer. Gunasekera. For saying not only does she support Project 2025, she thinks the idea of getting rid of 50,000 professional civil service workers in NOAA and NIH and FDA and all across the government isn't enough. She said it doesn't go far enough. She wants to extend the demolition of professional civil service jobs and do what Project 2025 is advocating, which is replacing them with political appointees, flunkies, acolytes, supplicants, and sycophants who are willing to do whatever Donald Trump says. Their unilateral executive theory is that the president should control everything that goes on in the executive branch, including by the commissions and by the boards, wiping out the independence of federal regulatory commissions and boards. So they want to slash reproductive freedoms. That includes IVF. It includes birth control, abortion, of course. They want a national ban on abortion in America. That's the reality of what we're talking about. And you've put the politics of it front and center today. And I'm glad at least you've not been abashed about it the way Donald Trump is now running away as quickly as he can from Project 2025. You've put it forward, and I thank you for that, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time's expired, and I apologize to the witnesses with his constant misstatements that the majority of this panel had anything to do with Project 2025. Honesty is not the ranking member's strong suit. So,
he is. Imagine being a MAGA Republican congressman, a Trump supporter like James Comer. James Comer, who was the Grand Inquisitor of the failed sham impeachment effort against President Biden, who helped co-author a 300-page summation of that, nearly 2-year effort, which cost tens of millions of dollars, in which Comer said, after public humiliation, after public humiliation, after public humiliation, after public humiliation, very often by his own witnesses and very often on right-wing networks who criticized him. Fox and Newsmax criticized Comer for running his mouth and making promises about, we finally got the smoking gun on Joe Biden. And then he would always faceplant, fail to produce the goods. And one Fox News host and Newsmax host after another would call him out for it. That's how much of a failure this loser is. Imagine being that dishonest and writing a 300-page tome saying Joe Biden has committed more impeachable offenses than any sitting president in the history of the United States of America, and then not actually recommending impeachment charges, not actually recommending an impeachment vote because you don't have the numbers. Strange that you have the majority in the House. You actually have the numbers in theory to bring an impeachment vote. And this is the strongest case in the history of the United States. But you can't persuade 13 Republicans to go along with it? Could be that you lied and you actually don't have a case here. So imagine being that guy and accusing Jamie Raskin, who is morally and intellectually superior by far to James Comer, and imagine calling him a liar. Fascinating stuff. That was a masterclass by Jamie Raskin, by the way, listing, again, just a snapshot of the various successes, very often apples to apples. The infrastructure laws is such a big one to me because it's an apples to apples comparison. Both Donald Trump and President Biden promised to deliver sweeping infrastructure in the United States. And both of those men, for 2 years of their presidencies, respectively, had united control of government. Or I shouldn't even say that. I caught myself. Donald Trump had united control of government because for the first 2 years of his administration, Trump had the White House, he had the House of Representatives, he had the United States Senate, and he had a sympathetic right-wing majority in the United States Supreme Court. Donald Trump actually had more control of government during his administration than President Biden ever did. President Biden has always had to deal with a hostile right-wing Supreme Court. And then during the first 2 years, he only had the House, the White House, and the Senate. But despite having less control, less unified control of government than Trump did, Biden actually got infrastructure passed. Donald Trump didn't. It's an easy apples to apples comparison, and not the only one. Jamie Raskin actually mentioned a few other, like lowering the cost of insulin $30 to $35. Donald Trump said he would do that. He failed. Biden did it. Allowing Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices. Trump promised in 2016 he would make that happen. Because I'm the deal maker. Why don't we negotiate? We're going to have the best deals in the world. It didn't happen. Biden got it done. And then infrastructure. Again, more apples to apples comparisons than just that. But that is a sign of objectively greater competence. If you and I have goals, and we have the same goals, but you get the goals accomplished and I don't, you're probably more competent than me. Again, especially if it's an apples to apples comparison. And that's what so triggered James Comer, the fact that he knows that despite what the polling suggests, and again, Trump does benefit from, us memory holding 2020 and looking back at things with rose-tinted glasses. He benefits from that. But Comer knows in an apples to apples comparison where the facts are laid out, the Republicans will always lose, the Democrats will always win. And that's what pissed him off so much. Even the Project 2025 thing. Dozens upon dozens upon dozens upon dozens of former Trump campaign and administration officials are directly involved with Project 2025. Trump himself is mentioned by name in the Project 2025 document hundreds of times. We have footage. We've done videos about this. Footage of Project 2025 executives saying that Donald Trump knows of and approves of their work, that he just has to distance himself from them politically because he knows Project 2025 is unpopular. It is Trump's Project 2025. It is a lie to pretend otherwise. I'm glad that Democrats are not letting up on that. And all of that has pissed off James Comer so much, where he would cast aspersions on his colleague in a way that if Democrats did to Comer, Comer would be clutching his pearls and freaking out. Masterclass performance by Jamie Raskin. Can't wait for that guy to be the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, and he brings that fire to investigate the hell out of Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, the way that we should have been doing the first 2 years, quite frankly. Democrats should have been more ruthless with their House majority when they had it. Hopefully we'll be able to correct that after this election. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.